When life keeps knocking you down, it's easy to believe that giving up is the only option. But the hardest seasons don't come to break you. They come to reveal the strength you never knew you had. Today, I'm going to show you how to stay motivated when life gets hard. Keep moving through the pain and turn your greatest struggles into your greatest source of strength. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that a difficult season means they are on the wrong path. The moment life becomes challenging, they begin questioning their abilities, their purpose, and even their future. They assume that struggle is a sign to stop. But what if the opposite is true? What if the hardest moments in your life are not evidence that you are failing, but evidence that you are growing into someone stronger than you have ever been before? Growth has never been comfortable. Every meaningful transformation requires resistance. A seed must break open before it becomes a tree. A muscle must experience tension before it becomes stronger. A diamond is formed under intense pressure. Nature itself teaches us that strength is rarely created in comfort. Why should your life be any different? If you expect growth without discomfort, you are expecting something that has never existed. Hard times have a unique way of revealing who you really are. When everything is going well, it is easy to stay positive, disciplined, and confident. But when plans fall apart, opportunities disappear, or unexpected problems arise, your character is tested. Those moments reveal the beliefs you truly live by, not just the words you speak. Challenges expose your habits, your mindset, and your willingness to continue when the reward is no longer immediate. Many people spend too much energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" That question often keeps them trapped because it focuses on frustration instead of growth. A better question is, what is this experience trying to teach me? Every challenge carries a lesson. Sometimes it teaches patience. Sometimes it develops resilience. Sometimes it forces you to let go of old habits or discover strengths you never knew you possessed. The lesson may not be obvious in the moment, but it often becomes clear when you look back with wisdom. It is important to understand that struggle does not mean you are weak. In fact, the very presence of struggle often means you are attempting something meaningful. No one faces obstacles while standing still. Resistance appears when you move forward, when you challenge yourself, and when you pursue goals that require growth. If your dreams are significant, your journey will naturally include moments of uncertainty, disappointment, and hardship. Your response to difficult seasons shapes your future far more than the difficulty itself. Two people can experience the same setback and create completely different outcomes. One allows the experience to become an excuse for giving up. The other uses it as fuel to become wiser, stronger, and more determined. Circumstances influence your life, but they do not have the final word. Your response always carries greater power than the obstacle you are facing. Hard times also build emotional endurance. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you can survive the next one. Every obstacle you face expands your confidence because you begin trusting your ability to recover. You realize that pain is temporary, but the strength you develop through that pain remains with you. This confidence cannot be borrowed from books or speeches. It must be earned through experience. Accepting that hard times are part of growth does not mean pretending they are easy. It means refusing to let them define your future. It means understanding that every setback has the potential to become preparation, every obstacle can become an opportunity, and every difficult season can shape the person you are becoming. The strongest people are not those who avoid hardship, but those who choose to keep moving forward, trusting that every challenge is preparing them for responsibilities, opportunities, and victories that could never be reached through comfort alone. When life becomes difficult, the first thing many people lose is not their strength, it is their sense of purpose. They become so focused on the pain they are experiencing that they forget the reason they started their journey in the first place. Challenges have a way of narrowing your vision. Instead of seeing the future you are building, you begin seeing only the obstacles standing in front of you. This is why staying connected to your purpose is one of the most powerful ways to remain motivated when life gets hard. Purpose gives meaning to sacrifice. Without purpose, every setback feels unnecessary. Every disappointment feels unbearable. Every difficult day feels like proof that you should quit. But when you know why you are doing what you are doing, suffering begins to take on a different meaning. The early mornings, the long hours, the failures, and the uncertainty become investments rather than punishments because they are connected to something greater than temporary comfort. Many people chase goals without first discovering their purpose. Goals are important because they give you direction, but purpose gives you endurance. A goal may motivate you for a season. Purpose motivates you through a lifetime. Goals can change as circumstances change, but purpose remains steady because it is rooted in your values, your mission, and the impact you want to have on the lives of others. Take a moment to think about what truly matters to you. Ask yourself why your dream is important. Why do you want to succeed? Why do you want to become healthier, stronger, wiser, or more successful? If your answer is only about money, recognition, or status, your motivation may disappear when those rewards are delayed. But if your purpose is connected to serving your family, helping other people, creating opportunities, or becoming the best version of yourself, your motivation becomes much more resilient because it is tied to something deeper than personal achievement. Purpose also gives you perspective during difficult seasons. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to look smaller when you remember the bigger picture. A temporary setback no longer feels like the end of the journey because you understand that your mission is larger than one bad day, one rejection, or one failure. You stop allowing temporary emotions to make permanent decisions because your purpose reminds you of what is truly at stake. One of the most effective ways to stay connected to your purpose is to remind yourself of it every day. Write it down. Read it every morning. Reflect on it before making important decisions. Place reminders where you can see them. When challenges appear, return to that purpose instead of allowing fear or frustration to become your guide. Your daily habits become much easier to maintain when they are connected to a meaningful reason. Purpose also has the power to inspire others. People are naturally drawn to those who live with clarity and conviction. When others see you continuing despite adversity, they begin believing that they can do the same. Your perseverance becomes an example that encourages people who may be facing battles you know nothing about. Your purpose extends beyond your own success because it creates hope for those around you. Life will always present moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. During those moments, motivation alone may not be enough to keep you moving. But purpose has the power to carry you through seasons when emotions are weak and circumstances are difficult. When you remain connected to the reason behind your journey, every challenge becomes easier to endure, every sacrifice becomes more meaningful, and every step forward brings you closer to the life you were created to build, guided by vision, strengthened by conviction, and sustained by an unwavering commitment to what truly matters. When life gets hard, the toughest battle is often not happening around you. It is happening inside your mind. Before challenges defeat your actions, they usually try to defeat your thinking. Negative thoughts begin to appear quietly. This is too difficult. Nothing is working. Maybe I'm not capable enough. What's the point of continuing? If these thoughts are repeated long enough, they start feeling like truth. This is why staying motivated during difficult seasons requires learning how to win the battle against negative thinking. Your mind is constantly interpreting every experience. Two people can face the same setback and create completely different stories about it. One sees failure as proof that they should quit. The other sees it as feedback that can help them improve. The event is identical, but the interpretation changes everything. Motivation rises or falls based largely on the meaning you give to your circumstances. If you view every obstacle as evidence that life is against you, your energy will disappear quickly. If you view obstacles as temporary challenges that can strengthen you, your determination has a chance to survive. Negative thinking becomes dangerous because it often sounds reasonable. It does not usually say, give up forever. Instead, it suggests small forms of surrender. Skip today. Wait until tomorrow. Lower your expectations. Stop trying so hard. These thoughts feel harmless, but repeated often enough, they slowly pull you away from the future you were working toward. Motivation is rarely lost in one dramatic moment. It is usually lost through hundreds of small thoughts that gradually weaken your belief in yourself. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is questioning your thoughts instead of automatically believing them. When your mind says, I can't do this, ask, what evidence supports that? When it says, I always fail, ask, is that completely true? Most negative thoughts are exaggerated, emotional, and temporary. They are reactions to discomfort, not accurate descriptions of your potential. Creating a small pause between the thought and your response gives your rational mind a chance to take control. Another important step is changing the language you use with yourself. The words you repeat become the beliefs you strengthen. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm still growing. Instead of saying, this is impossible, say, this is difficult, but I can learn. This is not blind positivity. It is disciplined thinking. It is choosing words that encourage progress rather than words that create defeat before the fight has even begun. What you consume also affects your mindset. Constant exposure to negativity, complaints, and discouragement can shape the way you see your own life. Fill your mind with voices that remind you of resilience, possibility, and growth. Read, listen, and learn from people who have faced adversity and continued moving forward. The environment around your mind matters just as much as the environment around your body. Gratitude is another powerful weapon against negative thinking. Even during the hardest seasons, there is always something you can appreciate. Gratitude does not deny your pain, but it prevents pain from becoming the only thing you see. When you intentionally focus on what is still working in your life, you remind yourself that hope still exists. Every day you choose gratitude, challenge limiting beliefs, and take one more step despite uncertainty, you strengthen your mental resilience. Over time, your mind learns that difficult circumstances do not automatically create defeat. They create a choice, and you become someone who consistently chooses courage, perspective, growth, and the belief that this hard season is preparing you for something greater. When life becomes difficult, motivation often disappears before your problems do. You wake up feeling exhausted, discouraged, and emotionally drained. The goals that once excited you now feel heavy, and the habits that once seemed easy begin to feel impossible. During these moments, many people make the mistake of waiting for motivation to return before taking action. They believe they need to feel inspired again before they can move forward. But lasting progress is never built on temporary emotions. It is built on daily habits that keep you moving even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Small daily habits create momentum. Momentum is powerful because it reduces the need for constant motivation. Think of a train leaving a station. The hardest part is getting it moving. Once it gains momentum, it becomes much easier to keep going. Your life works the same way. Every small action you complete creates energy for the next one. Reading a few pages, exercising for 20 minutes, writing one paragraph, making your bed, or completing one important task may seem insignificant. But these actions remind your mind that progress is still possible. Many people believe they need to make huge changes to overcome difficult seasons. In reality, overwhelming goals often create more stress than motivation. When life already feels heavy, adding impossible expectations only increases the pressure. Instead, focus on actions so small that excuses become difficult to make. If you cannot exercise for an hour, walk for 10 minutes. If you cannot write an entire chapter, write one page. If you cannot solve every problem today, solve one. Small victories build confidence because they prove that you are still capable of moving forward. Daily habits also create stability during uncertain times. When everything around you feels unpredictable, your routines become an anchor. Waking up at the same time, exercising regularly, reading daily, practicing gratitude, and setting clear priorities provide structure when life feels chaotic. These habits remind you that while you cannot control every circumstance, you can always control your response. One of the greatest benefits of consistent habits is that they strengthen self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who follows through. That belief becomes incredibly valuable during difficult seasons because confidence grows from evidence. Every completed habit tells your mind, I may be struggling, but I have not stopped. That simple message can become the difference between giving up and continuing. It is also important to protect your habits during hard times rather than expecting perfect performance. Many people quit because they cannot maintain their ideal routine. They believe that if they cannot give 100%, there is no point in trying. But consistency is always more valuable than perfection. A shorter workout is better than none. Reading one page is better than reading nothing. Taking one step forward is always better than standing still. Protect the habit first, then improve the performance when your circumstances become easier. Habits also reduce emotional decision making. Instead of asking yourself every morning whether you feel like doing something, you simply follow the routine you have already established. This removes unnecessary mental battles and conserves energy for the challenges you cannot predict. Your actions become guided by commitment instead of mood. Building daily habits that keep you moving is not about creating a perfect life. It is about creating a reliable system that carries you through imperfect seasons. Every small action becomes another reminder that progress is still happening. Every repeated habit strengthens your resilience. Every consistent choice moves you one step closer to the future you are fighting for, proving that even when motivation fades, discipline, consistency, and purposeful action can continue leading you toward the life you refuse to give up on. Every setback carries two possibilities. It can become the reason you give up, or it can become the reason you grow stronger than you ever imagined. The difference is not found in the setback itself, but in the way you choose to respond to it. Life will disappoint you. Plans will fail. People will let you down. Opportunities will disappear. There will be moments when everything you worked for seems to collapse at once. These experiences are painful, but they do not have the power to define your future unless you allow them to. Many people lose motivation because they expect progress to be smooth. They believe that if they are working hard, life should reward them immediately. When obstacles appear, they begin questioning whether they are on the right path. They assume that difficulty is proof they should stop. In reality, setbacks are often signs that you are attempting something meaningful. No one climbs a mountain without facing steep paths, changing weather, and moments of exhaustion. The greater the destination, the greater the challenges you will encounter along the way. One of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make is to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What can this teach me?" Every setback contains a lesson. Sometimes it teaches patience when you wanted immediate results. Sometimes it teaches humility when success came too easily. Sometimes it reveals weaknesses that need to become strengths. Every challenge carries information that can make you wiser if you are willing to learn instead of simply complaining. Think about the strongest people you admire. Very few of them achieved greatness without struggle. They experienced rejection, failure, criticism, loss, and disappointment. What made them different was not the absence of hardship. It was their refusal to allow hardship to become their identity. They understood that pain is temporary, but the character developed through pain can last a lifetime. Every obstacle they overcame became another layer of confidence, because it proved they were capable of surviving more than they once believed. Setbacks also force you to become resourceful. When everything is going well, it is easy to depend on familiar routines. But when life changes unexpectedly, you are challenged to think differently, adapt quickly, and discover strengths that comfort could never reveal. Many of your greatest abilities remain hidden until adversity gives them a reason to emerge. Difficult seasons often introduce you to a version of yourself that easy seasons never could. Another important truth is that setbacks are rarely permanent. They may feel overwhelming in the moment, but they are only chapters in your story, not the entire book. Looking back on your life, you will likely realize that some of your greatest blessings came after moments you once considered devastating. Closed doors often redirected you toward better opportunities. Delays gave you time to prepare. Failures taught lessons that success never could. What feels like an ending today may actually be the beginning of something greater. Finding strength in every setback also requires surrounding yourself with hope instead of despair. During difficult seasons, remind yourself of how far you have already come. Remember the battles you have already survived. Reflect on the times you thought you would never recover, but somehow found the strength to continue. Those memories become evidence that you are capable of overcoming the challenge you are facing today. The strongest people are not those who avoid setbacks. They are those who refuse to waste them. They use every disappointment as fuel for determination, every obstacle as preparation for greater responsibility, and every failure as another lesson that moves them closer to success. Instead of allowing hardship to steal their motivation, they allow it to deepen their resilience, strengthen their character, sharpen their focus, and remind them that every difficult season is preparing them for a future that comfort alone could never create. When life becomes difficult, the people around you have a greater influence on your mindset than you may realize. During seasons of success, almost anyone can encourage you because progress is easy to celebrate. But when you are struggling, facing failure, or questioning your future, the voices you listen to can either strengthen your determination or slowly destroy your motivation. This is why surrounding yourself with the right influence is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. Every conversation leaves an impression. Every opinion you hear has the potential to shape your thinking. If you constantly spend time with people who complain about life, criticize every opportunity, and expect failure before they even begin, it becomes difficult to remain hopeful. Negativity is contagious. Over time, you begin adopting the same beliefs without even realizing it. You stop dreaming as boldly. You hesitate more often. You start accepting limitations that were never truly yours. The opposite is also true. When you spend time with people who believe in growth, responsibility, resilience, and purpose, their mindset begins influencing your own. They remind you that obstacles are temporary. They encourage you to keep learning, keep improving, and keep moving forward. They do not pretend that life is easy, but they refuse to let hardship become an excuse for surrender. Their attitude becomes a constant reminder that difficult seasons do not last forever. It is important to understand that the right influence is not always someone who agrees with everything you say. Sometimes the people who care about your growth will challenge your excuses, question your limiting beliefs, and encourage you to raise your standards. Honest accountability is far more valuable than empty comfort. The people who truly want the best for you will remind you of your potential even when you have forgotten it yourself. They will encourage action instead of helping you justify staying stuck. Surrounding yourself with the right influence also means being intentional about what you consume every day. Your environment is not limited to the people physically around you. It includes the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the videos you watch, and the conversations you choose to engage in. Every piece of information either strengthens your mindset or weakens it. If your mind is constantly filled with fear, anger, and hopelessness, maintaining motivation becomes incredibly difficult. If your mind is consistently exposed to wisdom, encouragement, and stories of perseverance, your perspective begins to change. Another important lesson is recognizing when you need to distance yourself from influences that repeatedly pull you backward. This does not mean judging people or believing you are better than anyone else. It simply means protecting your future. You cannot build a positive mindset while constantly surrounding yourself with negativity that encourages doubt, excuses, and complacency. Sometimes personal growth requires creating healthy boundaries so your purpose remains stronger than outside opinions. The right influence also reminds you that you are not alone. Every successful person has experienced moments of fear, failure, rejection, and uncertainty. Hearing the stories of people who overcame similar struggles gives you hope because it proves that your current situation is not permanent. Their journey becomes evidence that difficult seasons can lead to remarkable breakthroughs. Motivation is easier to maintain when you are surrounded by people and ideas that constantly remind you of what is possible. Their encouragement becomes strength during your weakest moments. Their belief becomes a source of hope when your own confidence begins to fade. By choosing relationships and environments that inspire growth instead of fear, you create a foundation that helps you keep moving forward through every challenge, every disappointment, every setback, and every difficult season, becoming stronger because of the influence you intentionally allow into your life. There comes a moment in every meaningful journey when quitting seems easier than continuing. The excitement that once fueled your progress begins to fade. Results take longer than expected. Obstacles become heavier. Doubts become louder. You start wondering whether all your effort is worth it. These moments are not signs that your dream is impossible. They are moments that test whether your commitment is stronger than your comfort. The people who eventually achieve extraordinary things are often not the most talented. They are the ones who simply refuse to stop. Success is rarely created by one big breakthrough. It is usually built through thousands of ordinary decisions to keep moving forward when nothing seems to be changing. Every successful athlete, entrepreneur, leader, artist, or creator has experienced seasons when progress was invisible. They continued working even when nobody applauded. They continued believing when results were delayed. They continued improving when failure seemed more visible than success. Their greatest advantage was not perfection. It was persistence. One reason people lose motivation is because they focus too much on how far they still have to go instead of recognizing how far they have already come. When your eyes remain fixed only on the distance ahead, the journey feels overwhelming. But when you pause to acknowledge your progress, you begin to realize that today's challenges are different from the ones you once struggled to overcome. The very obstacles that once seemed impossible have now become proof of your growth. Looking back reminds you that progress, has been happening even when it felt slow. Another important lesson is understanding that breakthroughs often arrive after seasons of persistence. Many people quit just before things begin to change because they mistake delayed results for permanent failure. Imagine a miner digging for gold. After weeks of effort with nothing to show, frustration begins to grow. If they stop digging just 1 foot before reaching the gold, all their previous effort appears wasted. Life often works the same way. You never know how close you are to the opportunity, the answer, the success, or the transformation you have been working toward. Keeping going also requires trusting the process instead of demanding immediate rewards. Growth is taking place even when you cannot see it. Every habit you build, every lesson you learn, every challenge you overcome, and every difficult decision you make is shaping the person who will eventually be ready for greater opportunities. Character develops quietly long before success becomes visible to the world. It is equally important to remember that your journey is inspiring people you may never meet. Someone is watching how you respond to adversity. Someone is learning from your resilience. Your determination may become the reason another person finds the courage to keep going through their own difficult season. Your perseverance creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life. Every difficult day you survive increases your capacity for future challenges. Every obstacle you overcome becomes evidence that you are stronger than you were yesterday. Over time, resilience replaces fear because you begin trusting your ability to recover from disappointment. You no longer expect life to be easy. Instead, you expect yourself to become stronger. Keep going until your breakthrough comes because every step forward matters, even when it feels small. Every moment of persistence is shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. Refuse to measure your progress only by visible results. Measure it by the person you are becoming through the journey. Stay committed to your purpose, trust the process, embrace every lesson, and continue moving forward with unwavering faith, knowing that persistence has the power to transform ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement.